an individual who creates and or invests in one or more businesses, bearing most of the risks and enjoying most of the rewards. That's what we're discussing today. Entrepreneurs. I'm OG Grip. It's only game. Let's get to it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. I can teach you how to stack a honey early in the morning. Money. Them niggas talking shit ain't got nothing.
For all my entrepreneurs, I want to say what's up. I know the road be hard sometimes, right? But it's all worth it. When you accomplish them things that you set out to accomplish, every step, every thorn is worth it. So I want to give y'all all the kudos in the world. I know how hard it is, and I know how rewarding it is. Keep pushing. That being said, let's get into this whole thing called entrepreneurship. Why would you want to be an entrepreneur? You tired of your job? You ready to do something different? You want to have your time to yourself, but not really to yourself? You want to accomplish things and feel good about it? You're trying to leave a legacy for your family? Those are some of the reasons that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Steps that I was going to take to become an entrepreneur at the time, I didn't know. I was young. I just decided to jump into it. I wanted to do music. That was the first thing that pushed me in order to want to be an entrepreneur was music. Started off just recording, staying up all night, ditching classes. I'm not recommending that the kids ditch classes, but that's what I was doing, ditching classes to go sit up in the studio and record. I didn't know at the time that that was entrepreneurship. I didn't know what I was building or what I was even headed towards. I just loved doing music. At some point, a guy gave us a book. When I say us, I was in a group. And he gave us a book. I think it was only 2 of us that read it. There was 4 of us in the group. And it was Donald Passman's book, Music Business, The Art of the Music Business or something like that. And that book let me know that music was more than just music. That in order to get out there, I had to actually know the business and become a businessman of some sort, right? So that was the beginning of my journey into entrepreneurship. I'm sure some of y'all have had similar, maybe it wasn't music, but you've had that type of experience where something pulled you to something, and as you started unwrapping it, you realized that there was more to it than what you just saw on the surface, and that's what it was. That was probably 1992, somewhere in there. When I first said, all right, this is more than just me rapping and writing rhymes. Then it became, okay, I want to start a label. How do you run a label? What do you do when you start in a label? You know what I mean? At the time, I didn't know about an S Corp, C Corp, sole proprietorship, corporation, which are the 2 corps, LLC, nothing. I just knew I wanted to rap and I wanted to own my stuff. So as I started studying a little bit and coming across different individuals who were further along in the game than I was, I started learning a lot more about being a businessman, which led to 1996, me putting out my first tape after a friend of mine, Jason Dobbins, had passed away. I put out my first tape, and that was really my first steps into entrepreneurship. Waking up, going over to the spot that I could get CDs and tapes done at, coming up with the graphics, thinking of a logo, thinking of a name, registering my company to be a major company, a real company. And I wanted to be a corporation as opposed to an LLC. Why? Because corporation was bigger and had more pieces to it. And the tax benefits were good, or better for me anyway. So going there and then trying to figure out how many CDs I had to press in order to make how much I had to sell my CDs for in order to make any money. And at the time, it wasn't even CDs, it was tapes. So I had to buy the tapes, remember what the cost of the tape was, what the cost of the tapes were. And then I had to think, what could I charge people for these tapes where it would be fair for these 3 songs that I got on this tape, but I could still make a profit. So then once I figured out how much my cost was and what I could charge people in order to make a profit and keep coming back and getting more, I spent $900 on those tapes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really hustled up that $900 and I got the tapes. once I got the tapes and I actually hit the streets, I got a couple, if I could hear it, I would probably buy it, which made me go buy some headphones because I didn't want that excuse anymore. Then that way, when people said that to me, I put the headphones on them and let them hear it right then on the spot. At that point, they either had to break my heart or my spirit, as they probably thought they were doing, or they had to buy it, because now you can hear the music. There is no excuse. Most of the people that I did that with bought it. I was an entrepreneur. It was that easy. It was that fast. And I've been hooked ever since. Now that I've become an entrepreneur, after, going back and getting the tapes and re-upping a few times, and moving around as much as I was moving around, I started realizing that I was spending a lot of money. As I was making it, I was spending it because I had to always be somewhere. I didn't really have a place to be. So one of my biggest hurdles that I faced was stability, which is probably a hurdle that some of you guys are going to face if you're not stable. That's one of the things that I would recommend is make sure that you're stable. Don't get me wrong. Being an entrepreneur is about grinding. It's about hustling. It's about getting out here and getting to it, right? But it's also about being able to manage what you're making off of your grind and your hustle and your time. And if you can't do that because you have to eat and you have to live, you either got to hustle harder or you got to get stability, And I recommend hustling harder, but I definitely recommend stability. Once the stability kicked in, all the hustling paid off a lot more. You know what I mean? It's like hand in hand. You can go and turn off at night as opposed to just being up all night and running around and doing whatever you're doing. You got to take a break sometimes. You got to decompress sometimes. But you got to be willing to decompress in order to get back to the grind, not to decompress and fall into what a lot of entrepreneurs or starting off entrepreneurs do. Get stuck in, oh, I miss partying. I miss hanging out. I miss whatever it is. I miss my girl, my family. Because as we all know, being an entrepreneur, it requires a lot. It takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot away from certain things if you allow it, unless you know how to manage all that stuff. And that goes back to stability, being able to manage time. Being an entrepreneur is something that I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't do anything else. Once I became an entrepreneur, I never wanted to work for someone again, right? Ever. I still don't, and I still don't. So something's working. I say that hopefully to motivate you guys, to let you know that maybe you're not doing the exact thing that you picture in your mind today, right now. Maybe you're not out here just making millions of dollars or traveling the world today, right in this moment. But you got to be willing to see that. You got to be able to see that. And in the process of seeing that, you have to understand that it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication in order to get there. It's not going to be something that comes overnight. It's not going to be something that's going to be easy. And if it is, you should be afraid. You know what I mean? You want it to forge you into something strong, something tough, so you understand how to maneuver through the ups and downs that's going to come with being an entrepreneur. Finding funding, finding backing, finding a location, if you have a brick and mortar spot, building the support, hearing the no's, and still pushing. It's hard to push when you hear a no. It's hard to push when you hear a no. But you got to be willing to do that, because that's what this is about. Not everybody's going to see what you see when you see it. And it's your job to make them see it. It's your job to believe in you enough that they see it. So take that on with some pride. You know what I mean? Put that in your backpack, strap up, put your boots on, your hiking boots, the ones you can climb mountains with, because there's going to be some mountains that you have to climb, and get to climbing. But it's easy if you really believe that you can do it and you really believe in you. If you really set your mind to it, if you really write these goals down, and if you really have a checklist and really check things off your list. It's easy. Keep grinding. So this is the time. There's no time like the present. You want to be an entrepreneur? You haven't figured it out yet? You kind of straddling the fence? 1 minute you're in, the next minute you're out. You're afraid to take the leap. There's no time like the present. The world is exploding with new ideas, new innovations, new companies, new investments, new things that you can bring to the public, you can bring to the masses. That idea that you got in the back of your head that's been just sitting there forever that no one's done yet, once you speak that into the ether, it's out there. Somebody's gonna end up eventually getting on it. Make sure that it's you. The world is in a space right now where everybody's looking for the new thing. People's attention span ain't even long enough to do anything. Hit a like button, you get about 7 seconds. It's kind of like when we started doing music, A&Rs will listen to your music for the first 7-10 seconds. And if it didn't catch them in that 7-10 seconds, they went on to the next song. That's how the world is really moving right now. Things are moving like that. But even with that, there's still things that were created 40 and 50 years ago that people can't live without, that people can't do without, that become the things that spark the mind of something else or someone else to create something better, a newer version of it. You know what I mean? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just got to improve on it. That's it. Make it fatter. Add more grooves in it. Make it more all-terrain. Whatever it is, add value to it. But this is the time, yo. This is the time. If you're an entrepreneur, you're thinking about it, this is the time to get out here and stop thinking and do. That's part of being an entrepreneur. You think about it, make some plans, and you get off your ass and you go and do it. You get up every day, you hold yourself accountable, and you do it. Them days that you feel like, I don't feel like doing it today, those are the days that you need to do it. Those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days that are going to make it so that 5 years, 1 year, 10 years, however many years your hustle and your spirit and energy allow it to be, and your idea, all of a sudden before you know it, you looking back at yourself today like, man, you really grinded. Thank you. You know what I mean? You can pat yourself, you can give yourself the Snoop Dogg speech. I like to thank me for getting up every day and working hard and doing everything that I had to do and being at studio sets and so forth and so on. That's what it is. This is the time that we're in. This is like a renaissance. You know what I mean? You know what the renaissance is, right? This is the renaissance. This is when everything can be recreated. Everybody's recreating. Everybody's diving into this whole, there's new currency, there's new everything. There's new everything. People are just creating right now. The world is more creative than it's ever been. Part of it is we all got access to these. You know what I mean? And with that, your mind is not as limited to your block or your environment, your surroundings. Now you can look and see things outside of your radius or outside of your spectrum or outside of the people in your room and be inspired by it. Take that inspiration and be great. Get out here and be great. Why be anything other than great? They got a meme that says, if you're in hell, keep moving. Or if you're going through hell, keep going. Why would you stop in hell? Get to it, man. I believe in you. Believe in yourself more than I believe in you. And I believe in y'all a lot. Believe in yourself more than I believe in you. And I promise you, everything that you want, you'll have in due time. Entrepreneurs. Stand up. What are some things that could possibly help you? Reading. Reading is something that could definitely help and would. Having a mentor that you actually listen to. I want to add some value to you guys' world if I can in any way, right? So there's a couple books that I want to tell y'all about. And maybe you read it, maybe you haven't. But for each book, there's a reason that I kind of like the book. The first book is Think and Grow Rich. I love Think and Grow Rich. It took me 3 times to read it before it actually started sticking with me and I actually started practicing things that were in the book. I like Think and Grow Rich because of, if you want to change your habits, it's one of the best books to read. You know what I mean? The things that it points out that you might find within yourself or things that you can change in order to better your situation or your existence. Once you start implementing those things, you'll see how real those things really are and how how some of the things that we overlook every day play such a vital part in our growth, right? And in our energies and in the things that come our way. So Think and Grow Rich is definitely one of those books that, and it was written by Napoleon Hill. He has many other books that are great self-help books, if you want to call them that, or motivational books. But that's the first one I'll recommend to you guys. If you haven't read it, open it up, ask for some understanding, open it up and see what touches you. Everything that you read obviously is not going to be for everyone, but mostly everyone that is successful swears by this book. Mostly everyone that is successful has read this book and follows or adheres to a lot of the principles that are in that book. So, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's the first one. Another book, and I don't remember the author right now, is Never Split the Difference. It's about negotiating. And I heard about that book, rest in peace Nipsey Hussle. I heard about that book the first time from something that I watched with Nipsey, and he mentioned the book. And it's about negotiating. I don't know if anybody's ever tried negotiating, but it's not the easiest thing if you don't know what you're doing, if you're too kind-hearted of a person, if you don't know your worth, it's not the easiest thing. Negotiating is a hard process. Also, if you're too aggressive of a person, you could mess up a deal. So I would recommend that book because it helps with temperance, I guess, if you want to call it that. It would help you figure out a nice balance when you're negotiating to get the best for you in whatever you're working on, right? I like that book for that reason. I haven't had a chance to read it more than twice yet, but we're still going through it because, every time you read something, you find something new in it. There's new knowledge in it, new information in it. So we're still going through it. And, we might touch on that again at a later date. The third book would be, the third book would be Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that's a good book in regards to perspective. You know what I mean? It helps you view things from different perspectives. When you read the book, you'll understand why. But there's a rich dad, obviously, and there's a poor dad. Now, the poor dad is not like messed up out here. His way of thinking is just different than the rich dad, and vice versa. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but as you read it, again, it'll help you with perspective to see that a lot of times, or most times, it's all on how you view things. Glass half full, glass half empty type of thing. That would be the third book. David, I think his name is David, I can't remember. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You can find it anywhere. If you Google it, it'll pop right up. The last book I want to throw at y'all is 50 Cent's book, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. I love that book. I got the audio book, and it was the best thing ever because it's literally like sitting in a room talking with 50 Cent. You know how they got all these memes and questions out. Would you pay X amount of dollars to sit down with Jay-Z for dinner or whatever the hell else? That's what that book is, especially the audio book. If you like audio books, I tell you, get 50's book and listen to them. I like that book because it's just game. He gives you it's perspective, it's negotiating, it's understanding different personalities in the business, understanding the difference between the streets and the corporate world, and understanding the similarities of all that. It's just a lot of game. It's a lot of game. It's packed with a lot of game. And again, you're getting it directly from 50. So I love that book. I've been through that book 2.5 times. I'm going through it again. I'm gonna go through it about 1 million more times. I always hear something new, something that is captivating, or something that's super educational, or something that I just missed that might have just been something super witty. I recommend that book to any and all entrepreneurs. If you want to be an entrepreneur, or you are an entrepreneur, grab those books. If you're scared, start with that. One of the things we have to do as entrepreneurs is educate ourselves. right? We gotta at least know the field we wanna be in, know the people that we're gonna be dealing with or the types, you know, what moves the needle, what makes an impact. All those things are important. But what's most important out of all those things is just believing in ourselves. I really want to just thank you guys, all the entrepreneurs out here. I really want to say thank you. I see new entrepreneurs every day on social media, new people chasing after their goals, chasing after their dreams. As time goes along, you get older and you get older. It's great to see that type of thing because it helps keep all entrepreneurs motivated. So don't hold your gifts to yourself. You know what I mean? Take your dreams and your passions and share them. Unless your dreams or passions are some BS, keep them to yourself. Be willing to get ridiculed and looked at crazy. Some of the most ingenious ideas were passed up 10,000 times before someone actually saw the value in it or someone actually made someone else see the value in it. That's all part of the beauty of being an entrepreneur. I hope y'all got a lot of motivation out of this. I hope y'all got a lot of understanding out of this. And you know, from a real perspective. Not someone just telling you that do this and everything's gonna work. I'm telling you, it's not gonna just all blossom right away. It's gonna be a little bit of a struggle. But who wants it if it's not, right? So that's it for entrepreneurs that want to get involved in entrepreneurship. Hop on the ship. Let's all go for a ride. Appreciate y'all joining me. Check me out all week. OG Grip. Only game. Where it's only game all the time. So in the spirit of good entrepreneurship, make sure y'all click that like, that follow, subscribe, and that bing. Catch me live on IG. Shout out to all the entrepreneurs. Keep grinding. Keep pushing. This episode was for y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And y'all motivate me. I hope I motivate y'all. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms. The Real OG Grip. Again, like, subscribe, click the notification bell. Keep in touch. This is Only Game. Love.
I can teach you how to stack a honey early in the morning. Niggas talking shit ain't got nothing.